All right, guys, another video here. In this one, I'm going to show you guys how I was able to install this Adelove wireless Wi-Fi bridge, so that way we can fix some of the service issues we're having out here in the garage. Please don't let my sloppy install deter you from getting this product. I mean, this has been awesome so far. If you stay tuned to the end of the video, there will be a discount code if you're interested in purchasing one of these. Huge shout out to Adelove for sending one out for us to try out here in the garage. But stay tuned, we'll jump inside and we'll take a look what's inside the box and we'll start getting it installed. Alright, so real quick before we install everything here, just want to show you guys what comes in the box. So we have two mounting brackets that you're going to use for the main antennas for this. You have your two antennas here, power cord, and then your cables to connect power cord to the actual antenna there. So one of these will get connected to the router inside the house, and then one of them will be on the opposite end of that where you want your internet to extend to. We got some packets here that goes through some of this stuff. This is basically what we're going to be doing. We're just extending the range of our actual router in the house out to the garage since the internet out there isn't the greatest. So one of these will get connected to the main router. I did end up getting a separate 50-foot spool of Ethernet cable since the one that we have obviously wasn't long enough. And I did end up getting another router. I just got that off Amazon. I want to say it was maybe like 25-30 bucks. Nothing too crazy. But again, main router will be connected to this one. This will then shoot the signal over to this one, which will be at the garage, which then will connect to that router, which will then give us basically a second source of internet out in the garage. But again, it's going to be just piggybacking off of your main router that you have in the house. So for my application here, we have the internet router down here. I already have a pass through in the wall that goes up here to the television. So we're going to use these electrical running wire kits, or these fiberglass wire running kits. And we're going to use that to fish the long Ethernet cable up to the attic so we can run the main Ethernet cable out to the antenna. So let's start getting that all set up. Probably going to be tons of dog hair and some toys. Alright, so we're just going to be using one of these outputs on the back of this for the internet to go to that antenna. So let's see if we're even going to be able to get this up through the through that hole. Watch out. Yeah, those are pretty flexible, so we should be all right. And what we're going to do is we're just going to poke this up through the floor in the attic. And then I'll end up attaching one end of the Ethernet cable to the end of this and just kind of pulling it up through. Okay. At least that was the plan. Maybe that won't work. Three of them should definitely be enough. Alright, let's go in the attic and see what it looks like from the top. Alright, so wall comes up about here. So it should be on this side of this this piece of wood here. Let's see. Alright, so there's this plate at the top of the studs that come up from the wall. So we're gonna have to measure from the edge of here over downstairs to see how far over we need to drill a hole. And then I'm gonna end up drilling a hole through the top of this beam, and then hopefully we'll be able to fish the those fiberglass sticks up through it. That'll allow us to run the internet cable up to here, and then this is a mess up here right now. There's just kind of stuff everywhere, but we do plan on flooring all this later. But for now, I'm just gonna run the Ethernet cable across, and then I don't know how I'm going to run the actual antenna outside this window just yet, because I do want to have it mounted on the outside. I think for now I'm going to end up just kind of mounting it in here facing towards the garage for now. I don't think the window will affect it at all, but I do want to properly get it all routed outside and set up. I just don't have the time to do all that today. So for now we're just going to get it set up in here facing. Maybe we'll just put a piece of wood on here hanging down and have the antenna facing out. But let's go measure, let's get a drill bit, and we'll get ready to run that wire. Alright, it's about 5 foot 2 inches from the edge. So let's see. So we'll just do 5 foot off of this piece. So right about there. And that should get us in between those studs. So let's drill right here. Jesus. Why is it so thick? Feels like it's two 2x4s like doubled up. All right, well, we went through and I don't see light, so that's good. This is where having 2 people would be nice, but let's see if we can get that to poke through. Alright, well, that didn't work. So, change of plans. We're gonna go. Yeah. I just took that little plate thing out of the wall. So, I should be able to see that now. Alright, so I took this whole cover plate off. We just dropped the stick down. And there it is. So, I'm gonna try to do this one-handed. Just pushing it back up so we can pull it out. So now we'll tape one end of the Ethernet cable to that, and we'll just pull it back up, and then now we have the wire ran from down here up in the attic. Alright, before we get too far, we're going to end up plugging this back into the router. We got to fish it back through this little, whatever you want to call this. We'll get all this stuff situated and set back up, and then we can jump up into the attic and finish installing the actual main antenna. For plugging this in, it just goes into basically any of your Ethernet out ports on the back of your router. Shouldn't matter which one. And that'll pass your internet now up to your main antenna. That way we can basically extend that out to the second antenna. So let's get this table all pushed back, and then we'll jump up in the attic and start setting the antenna up. Now that we have it all taped in there, we can start pulling this up. And there we go. We can fill all this in now. We're going to be redoing a lot of this up here pretty soon. We want to floor everything and like tuck all this insulation down and clean it up here a lot so we can actually use it for storage. So I'm not going to go crazy with cable management for this right now, but we are going to end up coming back. We want to plywood the whole thing, get all this old wood out of here. I don't know what it's up here for, but yeah, we're just going to run the wire on top of everything for now, and I'll come back to this a little bit later. That way we can at least use it for now and then clean it up at another day. This is why I had to get that big 50-foot one, because it just wasn't gonna, I needed something to reach all the way up, and I wanted to have some extra cable to kind of maybe run around the edges or figure out what to do with it later. So this is our main antenna. It has the A on it. It's got all your ports and stuff on the bottom here. We have our power plug, which we're gonna hook into here. And then we have our internet coming from the modem. And then this is gonna be your actual power cable that's gonna come from here. So on the bottom here, might be hard for you to see it, but the one on the left says PoE. That's gonna be your power one, which will be this yellow cable. It's going to go from here to the one marked PoE on the, and then this is going to be your LAN, which is going to get plugged into the second slot on here. So once we plug this in, you'll see on the side we have power, and then in a short little bit you'll start to see your signal here on the top. We should end up having full signal since this is hardwired straight to the router. It just takes a second here for it to pick it up. All right, while we're waiting for that to connect, we're gonna end up sliding this cover piece back on, which just keeps everything watertight. One thing to add in too, you should be able to see in there, that's a letter C. There's a button you could switch down here, and as you push through that, it'll cycle through the different channels. It's very important to make sure that both of your antennas are on the same channel. So this one's set at C, so we'll make sure that the other one is also set on C. And then there's a little toggle switch underneath it. Left is A, right is B. Your master switch, or your master antenna, should be on A. Your slave antenna should be on B. So this one's on A and channel C. So we'll make sure that the other one is on B for the switch, and then channel C for the actual internet. All right, so again, for the actual installation of this, I would like to have it outside of the house, and I think that's what we're going to end up setting up in the end. But for now, that is not the case. For now, I'm going to basically just kind of rig something up so I can have it set here, pointing towards the garage. That way, I don't have to worry about drilling through the siding right now. I do have plans to move around. You can't really see it, but there's a ring camera over there. I do plan to actually mount that up here on the peak of the house, so that way I can look out and see both of the gates. I think we're going to end up running those fully outside at the same time. So for now, let's just try to figure out how we're going to need to mount this. So this clips onto here with a hose clamp. So honestly, I could probably just nail a 2x4 to this this top roof support. It's gonna be very strange, but I think I'm just gonna nail a 2x4 straight down to hang it down in front of the window. Let me grab a tape measure. We'll see how long of a piece we need, and then we'll go out and cut one real quick. All right, we found a scrap piece of wood from the fence left over, right about 4 feet. So we're gonna end up just nailing this to here. Not the best looking thing, but it is what it is until we can like officially install this. Jeez. Oh, fuck. There goes my head. I hate attics. Okay, I'll get a hammer and nail that in. Let's hang this antenna. I don't know how exact this needs to be pointed at the other one, but there's a ton of adjustment on here. So, all right, not the best looking installation here, but again, just dealing with what we got here. But this is mounted to the one of the cross supports. We got it angled pretty much right out towards the towards where the thing's going to be on the garage. I want to put it right where that light is on the side. I'm going to end up using the hole that I already ran for that to run the wire for this. So looking at this, it's pointed pretty close. I'm curious to see how close this needs to be pointed towards the other one for it to work. But should be all good in here for now. We'll tighten this down a little bit more, make sure that it's not moving at all, which seems pretty solid. And then we'll go outside and we'll start setting up the slave antenna out on the garage. All right, now that we got the one inside the house all set up, let's start getting ready to put this one on the outside. So same situation as inside, right? It's not fully finalized. I have a lot of work I want to do to this, but for now, we're gonna take this camera down and we're gonna end up using that hole that I drilled straight through the wood to run the internet in, and then we'll set the router up somewhere in this corner over here, since that one cable's not too long. And then we do have an outlet right there we can use, so that way it's got power. So before we do that, let's get some of this junk out of the way and let's get a fire going in here. It is absolutely freezing out today. I think it was down into the 20s last night, and then I think the high for today is like 30, 34, somewhere around there. Did end up getting some chimney sealant or high temp something. I forget what exactly it was, but smeared that around the top just to, oh wow, that's like rock hard, just to try to fill that little gap that we had. I didn't really have smoke seeping out of it when we had it lit last time, so do I need it? Probably not, but we got that. I got a little magnetic thermostat. 600 is pretty much what we had it running at last time. I don't think we even needed it that high, but now we got that as a visual. And then just a couple little things. Got a little poker, a little clamp thing to move some wood around, and then a wood rack that doesn't actually fit in the barrel. So maybe we'll take it apart and put it back together inside there. But yeah, let's get a fire going. It's freezing out here. All right. I went and got one of those moisture meters to test the wood. So we split all this a couple weeks ago, but it looks like it's still a little high. Actually, that side's not bad. Some of it maybe. Not bad though. It's been a couple weeks of it sitting outside, so good to see that that's dried up a good bit already. It was showing like 10-12% moisture. Obviously the drier the wood the better, but not bad. And I did get that rack in here, by the way, too. I just kind of wiggled it in and I actually was able to get it to fit. Oh no, my new jacket. Whole reason for me lighting this fire is so I don't have to get my new jacket dirty. Don't think that's gonna stay lit. I gotta hit some little sticks. Alright, so taking a look here, not sure if you can even see it, but on the top right, like I'm literally this close to the house, and oh, there we go. Just got 2 bars of internet. But as soon as we go out here a little closer to the garage, we already lost it. Now I'm back on 5G, and cell service out here is absolutely horrible. So that's why we're doing all this. It would be nice to have some internet in the garage. I listen to a lot of music while I'm working. So better connectivity out here would be much better. And then we do have some cameras out here further away from the house that rely on internet. Sometimes the internet stability is super unstable, so it won't actually work, and we can't use them how we intend to use them. So that's kind of the whole purpose behind going through and putting this whole thing in. So right up there in the window is our master one, and then let's start tearing apart this Ring camera so we can set up this antenna. Let's actually disconnect that real quick. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I made that hole big enough for this whole plug to come through. Oh, alright, maybe I didn't. Alright, now that that's out, or oh shit, maybe not. Let me get the drill. There we go. Alright, now that that's out, I'm pretty much just going to work my way backwards from what we did on the last one. So we'll start with mounting the actual antenna first, and then we'll get back to the router. There's going to be this huge hole here for just one wire to go through, but I'll end up, I'm probably going to replace a lot of this wood anyway. But for now, we'll just, we'll use some of that gap filler for now just to kind of close it in once we get the wire through. We'll have to angle that a little bit once we get the once we get everything set up, just to make sure it's pointing towards that other one. So again, this is the B one. We have this switch down here on B showing that it is the sleeve, and then we have the cord plugged in there to the PoE switch. So we'll end up hooking up the hose clamp to this, getting this all set up, and then we'll tuck that yellow wire through the hole, and then we'll get ready to set the router up on the inside. Alright, let me get a ladder for this to make this so much easier. There we go. And again, we'll mess with this once we get it all hooked up, but let's fish this through here, and then we'll start getting everything set up on the inside. So here's the only downfall. These are the cables that they provide. They're not the longest. I think they're maybe like 3 feet, 2.5 feet, 3 feet, somewhere around there. So you're pretty limited with how close to an outlet you need to be, since that needs to get plugged right into that little brick thing that goes on the outlet. So that's probably the only bad thing I would say about it. But you can obviously just get longer ones of these. It's just something you got to get out of pocket, but not the end of the world. Luckily, I have an outlet like right here, so I'm gonna end up running an extension cord up here, or I might even have a power strip with a longer tail on it that I could use. Let me see what I got real quick. All right, we'll end up using this. It's just one of these 3-prong extension cords, but it's got maybe like an 8 or a 10-foot cord on it. So let me figure out how we're gonna run this. I do need to put the router somewhat over here too, so maybe we could put like a shelf or something here, that way everything can kind of sit in one spot. I don't know if I have a big enough piece of wood for that. Worst case, we can just do 2 2x4s or something. But let me see, let me check the wood real quick. Alright, no luck with the wood. For now, we're gonna use this metal rack. We're just gonna put it here for now. I should have enough with the extension cord, the length of the power cord of that, and then how short of a distance is of that other one. We should be plenty good. So what we'll do for now is we'll just start connecting everything. I'll use that little hook to hold that for now. I hate when the wires aren't ran properly and like tucked away and all that, so this is gonna bother me for a little bit, but it is what it is, I guess. So we got the one cord. Oh man, even that's not high enough, or even that's too far. Plugging our power cord in, we have the Ethernet going to the actual router, hooked up into the LAN one, and then we have the yellow one going into the PoE plug, like that. So we'll end up mounting this up somewhere, so that way it's we got enough cable going both ways. And then plug for the router, we got that plugged in as well. We'll leave that dangling there for a second, and And then we'll just plug in this extension cord to make sure everything's good. Now I did do this off camera, but I did already set this actual router up. Again, I got it off Amazon for I think like 25, maybe 30 bucks, somewhere around there. So you download the Linksy, I guess it's called, Linksy app, and then I basically just set it up on there. So now I'll have a second Wi-Fi router in the garage. So if I'm in the house, my phone should automatically connect to the one in the house. If I'm in the garage, since it has a stronger signal, it should automatically connect to the one out here in the garage. I just named the one out here garage Wi-Fi. That way it's easy to differentiate the two. And then now anything that I leave on Wi-Fi out here in the garage, which is pretty much just the cameras, anything that I'm running out here that would need it, I can now connect it to this one, and it basically just piggybacks off of the actual internet that I'm already paying for inside the house. It's just a, an extender, so I can actually access it out here. These antennas are actually good for, I think it says up to almost 2 miles. I don't have any way of demonstrating that, just because I would need to have power on the other end of that 2 miles, but we got that all set up there. I'll have to tighten it, and again, we'll fill in that little hole with some of the gap filler, but let's give this a second here to set up. Router takes a couple minutes for it to turn on and get connected, but once that's all good, we can test the connection and see how it's doing. Should also be able to see the connection on the side of the antenna. Let me show you that real quick. Very hard to see with the sun, but as you can see, we're getting full signal right here, so that means that the connection between this antenna and the one up in the house is good. We got, what's that, 5 bars? So that should be plenty of service. So now as we go back into the garage, you can look on here and see that garage Wi-Fi is now up. So let me connect to that. So now it's connected and I got full internet now. So now that is literally running off of this Wi-Fi router, not the one in the house. But again, internet service is being jumped from that antenna in the house out to this one. So now anything that I have from the inside now I can access from out here. The only thing that could matter as far as like download speed and all that is probably this thing, this router. This was a super cheap one. I'm not out here gaming in the garage, right? Like I don't need top-notch internet out here. I just want to be able to connect to the internet, be able to listen to music, and as you can see on here, I got full internet service. Barely any cell service out here, but we'll let's give this a run real quick and we'll see how it's working. So that's just a quick internet speed test. Again, we're not breaking records out here. And I'll be completely honest, I don't know if this is good or bad, but it's a hell of a lot better than it was before we had this. So there you have it. Hopefully that's focused enough. Not bad. Again, much better than it was before. I mean, before we really had no connectivity whatsoever. So anything that we have right now is going to be better than that. But yeah, I hope you guys liked it. I mean, hopefully I'll be using this for the next couple weeks, and I'll put some feedback in one of the next videos to let you know how it's been doing so far. All right, well, that's going to wrap up this install. Once again, huge shout out to Adela for sending this out and sponsoring this video, so that way we can get some internet finally out to the garage so we can start streaming more music and stuff while we're out here working on things. As promised, right down below here there will be a discount code for you to use if you're interested in picking up one of these wireless bridges. There's also going to be an affiliate link for this down in the description of this video, so if this is something you might be interested in, definitely click on that, take a look, check it out. Would highly recommend it. For my application, I know it's not very far, but they advertise this thing working almost up to 2 miles away. Can't really show you that here, but from here to the garage, we now have full internet out here, which is fantastic. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. Again, tons of different things coming up in the future. more projects out in the garage, different things we're going to be working on. I got some lights I got to put on that trailer pretty soon. Still debating whether or not I'm going to video that. We definitely have some stuff inside the house we want to repair. We talked earlier about the floors. I also need to run a new sewer vent up through the roof. That one's no longer in use. We got to run a new one. I have no idea how I'm going to do that, but I guess we'll start looking into that. But yeah, stay tuned for some more videos. Hope you guys are enjoying it.